Today on your Focus on Sports, Fresno State football falls to Hawaii despite an incredible defensive showing, and Phoenix Jackson collecting Mountain West Conference Defensive Player of the Week.
The Fresno State volleyball team sweeps New Mexico and Air Force.
Good afternoon and welcome to your Focus on Sports. I'm Al Scott.
And I'm Efra Mata. We have a great show for you today.
Fresno State needs one more win to become bowl eligible. This weekend's loss to Hawaii challenges that. It was a low-scoring affair between the Rainbow Warriors and the Bulldogs. Hawaii led 7-0 until the Dogs answered back, with Elijah Gilliam running it in for 6. The Rainbow Warriors were marching down the field, but Phoenix Jackson had a different idea. He took it to the house with a 86-yard pick 6. The second half is a totally different story, though, as Hawaii's quarterback Brennan Shager connected with Nick Senecal for the game-winning touchdown as Hawaii beat Fresno State 21-20. Interim head coach Tim Skipper says the Dogs did not take advantage on Saturday.
We had plenty of opportunity to finish the game. We just didn't do it. We stalled out on offense, and we couldn't keep them out the end zone on defense, and they got the victory.
The Bulldogs are back in action this Saturday as they travel to Colorado Springs to take on the Air Force Falcons.
The Bulldogs are now 5-4 in the season, and hopes of a conference championship are dwindling. Al, do we need to make any changes?
I think as far as Tim Skipper is concerned, he's the guy. He's not the reason why they lost on Saturday. You've got to ride him out until the end of the year. You can make a decision then about is he the future or not. I think the bigger question is quarterback. If the Bulldogs lose one more game, I think it's fair to consider if they need to go in a different direction. I still think that Micah Keene is their best option to win. But if you can't win with Micah Keene, you have to see what other options you have. Joshua Wood is a very capable backup, but we don't know what we have in him until you see him play.
I agree with you. I think Keene hasn't been confident at all this season compared to last season at least. He was very efficient throwing the ball down the field, challenging those playmakers to go out there and catch the ball and make plays. Now, as you see, he's just dumping it down and expecting those playmakers to make a play with 10, 11 players in front of them.
You mentioned it. They've got playmakers, Jalen Moss, Magdalena, Raylan Sharp, but they're not able to get open downfield because he's not throwing it downfield. Maybe that's playmaking. Maybe that's Key not being confident enough. I don't know, but the results are not happening, and you can't just expect something to fix itself, especially when you're wanting to face tougher competition.
100%. Moving on to volleyball. The Fresno State's women's volleyball team played 2 games last week on Thursday and Saturday. The Dogs pulled out a 3-set sweep for both games. On Thursday, Fresno State played against the New Mexico Lobos. The teams went back and forth through all 3 sets, but secured the win. Opposite hitter Addison Haluska had 18 kills to top the team's season high. On Saturday's win against Air Force, the team made their record 9-3, winning 6 straight sets. The Bulldogs have won 7 of the last 8 games, and they will play again on the road Thursday against San Diego State at 6 p.m.
Fresno State men's basketball held its annual red and white scrimmage yesterday at the Save-Mart Center. The Red Wave got their first look at the Bulldog basketball team. Fresno State has 14 players new from last year's team, including transfers Zayon Collins and Amar Aguilar. The Bulldogs will host Sacramento State on Friday at 7 p.m. to tip off the 2024-2025 season. Here on Focus on Sports, we have covered club sports throughout campus. Fresno State women's rugby team season is right around the corner. Brian Welch is here with one of the players.
Hey, thank you, Al. Rugby is a tough sport. I'm now joined by somebody who's playing the game for a couple of years. Her name is Bella Bonilla. Bella, how are you today?
I'm good, Ryan. How are you?
Doing well.
Good.
How would you describe rugby?
To someone who has never played before, usually I say it's like soccer and football combined. So we run forward and pass backward. The ball's a little bit bigger than a football.
And how would you describe the scoring technique? Because it's very elaborate.
Yeah, so when we get a score, or we call it a try, that's 5 points. And then after that, you get a kick or a conversion for 2 more points.
And I know people like giving rugby a try, no pun intended right there. But the men's club and the women's club, they've gone to the national championship. They've won the national championship, the women's club winning it in 2019, the men's club in 2022. Have you seen a rise in interest here on campus for people to play rugby?
I believe so. So I think that really helped in and around Fresno. People see that we even have a team here. I think the Olympics also really helped. People just see what rugby is and that it's kind of fun to play and that we have a team here. So that has definitely helped, and winning the national championships for sure have increased exposure, yeah.
And you see on our screen right now, there are some of the highlights from when you guys played up in San Jose against San Jose State. Mm-hmm. But I mean, if you notice, I mean, with this squad right now, when does the season start for you guys?
So our first season game is January 25th. Our next game is actually November 23rd, so in about 2 weeks. And that's just us getting ready to play, but our season is January to about April.
And are you guys still having people trying out for the team right now?
Absolutely. We're always taking people. It's no experience needed. So even up until we start conference and into our conference season, we're always taking people. Whoever wants to come out, even if you've never done a sport before, we'll teach you everything from the ground up, yeah.
And where do you guys play at?
When we play home, we play on the kinesiology field right by the dorms. And when we travel, it's just wherever they want us, yeah.
And who do you contact about for tryouts?
For tryouts, people can go to our Instagram, so that's Fresno State Women's Rugby Club, or they can send us an email. We also have a website, FresnoStateWomen'sRugby.com, so you can check out any of those. Send us an email, send us a text on Instagram, and we'll reach out to you. We're always posting where and when we practice, so just show up.
Well, that's good to hear. Bella, thank you so much for hopping on.
Of course, thanks.
Coming up on Focus on Sports, we look at some of the dogs in the NFL. Davante Adams finds the end zone, and Derek Carr returns to the field for New Orleans. Plus, we take you back to the Dodgers World Series Championship Parade coming up right after the break.
I got the bulldog spirit up in my head.
Up in my head, up in my head.
I got that bulldog spirit up in my head, up in my head to stay. I got that bulldog spirit deep in my heart, deep in my heart,
Deep in my heart,
got that bulldog spirit deep in my heart, deep in my heart to stay.
I got that bulldog spirit.
Down in my toes, down in my toes, down in my toes. I got that bulldog spirit
Down in my toes, hey!
down in my toes to stay. I got that bulldog spirit up in my head, deep in my heart, down in my toes. I got that bulldog spirit all over me to stay. I got that bulldog spirit
Deep in my heart.
deep in my heart, deep in my heart. I got that bulldog.
Welcome back to your Focus on Sports. Davante Adams and the New York Jets hosted the Houston Texans in a Halloween edition of Thursday Night Football this week. Jets wide receiver Garrett Wilson had 9 catches for 90 yards and not one but 2 one-handed catches from quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Adams had himself a day as well. The former Bulldog had 7 catches for 91 yards and a game-winning touchdown as well. It was the 69th time in their careers that Rodgers and Adams found the end zone together. The Jets went on to win and beat the Texans 21-13. The win brings them to 3-6 in the season as they look to climb back into the AFC playoff picture. Derek Carr returned to the field for New Orleans after missing 3 weeks with an oblique injury. He completed 18 of 31 passes for 236 yards and a score to tight end Foster Moreau. It was not enough, though, as Carolina took home the victory 23-22, giving the Saints the worst record in the NFC. Following the loss, New Orleans fired head coach Dennis Allen this morning. Special teams coordinator Darren Rizzi has been named the interim head coach. Mata, as a Packers fan, you watched Adams and Rodgers play together for several years in Green Bay. What is it like seeing them live out their glory days, and bringing it back vintage style now with New York?
To put it simply, it makes my brain tingle. If you've watched the movie Ratatouille, I got it right here. When Remy is eating the cheese and strawberry together, closes his eyes, and his brain is tingling. That is how I feel when I'm watching Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers on Sunday night.
It feels like I'm bringing back my childhood of watching Carr and Davante here at Fresno State,
Oh, 100%. And then if you look at even the stats that they have together, Aaron Rodgers and Davante are amongst the top tier NFL duos. 629 catches, 7,675 yards, 69 touchdowns now, including that one from on Sunday. So they are some of the best. And moving on to Derek Carr, what do you think the Saints have to do to start winning some games?
I think it's a little bit too late. I think that, given their cap situation and the fact that they've lost 7 straight, it's unfortunately a little bit too late. They've got so many injuries on that team. New Orleans has to seriously consider trading some of their better players to open up some salary cap for next season, as well as getting back some draft capital. And that might be hard for their fans to hear, but sometimes you've got to go backwards to go forwards.
100%. Our Fresno State Focus team, most of us at least, are pretty happy about the Los Angeles Dodgers winning the World Series. Game 5 against the Yankees was a nail-biter. The team got to celebrate the right way this time around with a parade in Los Angeles with over 2 million people in attendance compared to their 2020 win during the pandemic. Entire streets of LA were filled with seas of Dodgers fans doing anything to get a glimpse of their favorite players. The parade ended at Dodger Stadium with the ceremony, thanking their fans for all their support and recognizing their teammates' hard work throughout the season with emotional speeches. In the NBA, California has been a force to be reckoned with. The Warriors have the best record in the state. They sit at 5-1 and are third overall in the Western Conference. The addition of Buddy Hield, the newest Splash brother, has opened up the Warriors' offense. 2 free throws from Tari Eason sent the game into overtime. And in overtime, the Warriors ran away with the win. You can see here, this 2-point fadeaway jump shot pretty much secured the win. The Lakers hold the 5th seed in the West. New head coach J.J. Redick has his team gelling together behind stars LeBron James and Anthony Davis. De'Aaron Fox and the Kings, well, they're staying afloat as they sit 500 on the season. Of the 3 losses, 2 of them were within 4 points. The one bright spot on the team has been the new addition, DeMar Rosen, as you see him getting to work here at the top of the key. Getting right there to the mid-range, you see him step back, and there it is, a bucket. Forgotten child, the Los Angeles Clippers, that's right. They boast a 2-4 record. The departure of Paul George put the Clips in addition by subtraction scenario, hoping the likes of Harden, Zubac, and Mann can pick up the slack until Kawhi Leonard returns. Speaking of the former Bulldog, Paul George is set to make his Philly debut as the 76ers face the Phoenix Suns in a few hours. What should we expect from PJ13 as 76ers debut?
I think you should expect some rust. You know, it's been a few weeks since he's had seen game action. Obviously, he got hurt in the preseason. He's had some injuries in the past. I think you're going to see some rust, but I think you're also going to see why the Sixers got him. You're going to see him shoot the 3 ball, and you're going to see him play tough on-ball defense. He's one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA, even as he's getting older in age, and he's still one of the most reliable volume 3-point shooters the league has seen in a very, very long time. I think pairing that up with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey makes the Sixers a force.
Yeah, 100%. And they've got the stars to compete with pretty much any team in the NBA, like you said. They got 3-level scorers at the 3 most in positions. They can defend pretty much against anyone. And that injury is not a tough injury for him to come back from. We've seen him come back from worse. So I think if he just starts shooting those threes and defending those perimeter players, they could be all right.
Do you think the Warriors and the Lakers can make a sustainable success?
The Warriors, 100%. Just let Steph Curry shoot those open threes, pass them out to Buddy Hield. Lakers, they just got to shore it up on defense.
I think it's all about health. The Bulldogs have a busy week ahead. Let's take a look. The women's basketball team has their home opener tonight against Fresno Pacific. Tip-off is at 6 p.m. at the Sanborn Center. On Thursday, the volleyball team is on the road taking on San Diego State. First serve is at 6 o'clock. On Friday, the women's tennis team is heading up to San Luis Obispo to take on Cal Poly. The equestrian team is back at home taking on Georgia at the Student Horse Center. Softball has a game against Fresno City at the Margie Wright Diamond, with men's basketball starting their season against Sacramento State at 7 p.m. at the Sanborn Center. On Saturday, swim and dive is on the road taking on Cal State Bakersfield. Volleyball is on the road taking on UNLV. Women's basketball is taking on Santa Clara at home at the Sanborn Center, with the Fresno State football team taking on Air Force in Colorado Springs. Also, the Fresno State baseball team will be back in action for fall ball on Monday, which is Veterans Day, as they welcome Sacramento State at 1 o'clock. Now it's time for our top dog of the week. Who do you got?
I got Phoenix Jackson. I know the Dogs lost the game overall, but his play defensively kept us in the game. He had that interception return for a touchdown, as well as a forced fumble. So Phoenix Jackson, he also got Mountain West Defensive Player of the Week. So along with that, my top dog of the week.
Getting his love from the conference, even despite the loss. My dog of the week is from the Fresno State volleyball team, middle blocker, Casey Purry. Lisa Rosen, head coach for the volleyball team, describes her as a rock star. The Bulldogs have won 7 of 8 games in a row, and she's a big reason for it. And I think as long as she's causing havoc up front, the Bulldogs will be fine, and they could look to repeat as conference champions. That's our show today.
Tune in this Wednesday for more sports coverage with Bianca Gonzalez during our newscast.
We do not have a show next Monday as we observe Veterans Day. Your weekly focus on sports returns Monday, November 18th. Thank you for joining us.